Hello everyone, my name is Kate Marshall. The name of my channel is called Inked Paper Art, and today we're going to make some page tucks, although I'm going to show you how to make these in mass make mode. So you're going to make a bunch of page tucks that can go in any journal, depending on how you decorate them, right? You could decorate them for a specific theme. The ones I'm going to do today can go in any journal. So let's get started. First things I'm going to show you how to make is vintage paper cardstock. So oftentimes you'll see me use rag paper in my junk journals. I like French rag paper, very nice, old paper, right? And I'm going to show you, this is typically pretty, it's on the thinner side usually, right? I'm going to show you how to make cardstock out of this. It's just very simple, but we need cardstock for page tucks. If you try to make a page tuck even out of this thicker paper, it's just going to be too flimsy to tuck something behind, right? So it's very simple. You're just going to glue it to plain old cardstock. And then we're going to cut it down to size. We'll add a tab to the side, decorate them up, and there'll be a bunch of page tucks at the end of the video. Okay, let's get started gluing. We want to glue these and give these time to dry. I'll show you. I'm also going to make some out of some handwritten papers. I'm using all old things today. So if you were waiting to see a video where I make stuff with old stuff, this is it. So we're going to take this piece of old rag paper. This is a 1700's rag paper French dictionary. We're going to glue it up to this cardstock here. And so it's just slightly smaller. This is a brand new glue stick. You want to make sure when you're making vintage paper cardstock, it's not quite as simple as it sounds, right? You want to make sure that you are getting glue all over the entire paper. You cannot leave, like, see these little skippy white bits? You cannot leave any holes in your glue. And that's why I recommend the Oohoo Magic glue sticks. I will link them in the description box below the video. You need to use something where you can make sure that you're getting enough glue on the paper. You can see I'm really going pretty thick with this. You want to get all the way over here to the edge. You can't leave any white area, like see all this white down here at the bottom? Can't leave that. If you leave a white area that doesn't have glue on it, yes, your paper will stick down overall, but what will happen is you're going to get an air bubble. And an air bubble means there is going to be literally a bubble of air in your project where your paper isn't going to be stuck down in the center. It's going to be stuck down probably on the sides if you glued it on the side. But if you don't get enough glue on, it doesn't really work the same. Cardstock needs to be perfectly smooth and flat. And so that's why we really add a lot of glue to this kind of process. So there's that. I've got enough on. It's a new glue stick, so that helps. We can add a little more over here to this edge. And you notice I put a piece of parchment paper underneath, and that's just to kind of help keep my mat clean. And then we're going to flip over our page, line it up as best as we can. I don't want any big chunks of glue, so we'll leave those on the mat. Line this up as best as you can. And you're going to get one go at this. Now you can peel it off if you need to and go again, but see, I just put it down a little bit and now I'm lining it up. I'm pulling it and lining it up. And if cardstock is showing underneath, that's fine, but I don't want any overhang of paper because I'd have to cut off the paper later. So then you're going to smooth it down with your hands, starting from the inside center and pushing to the outside. And that's helping push any air that is trapped in there out. So you're just doing it with your hands at this point. And then what you do is you take a bone folder, and I like these Teflon bone folders with rounded edges, and you don't push down, because if you push down too hard, you're going to scrape your paper right back off. Just give it a nice even press from one side all the way out to the other side. And that's how you make, see right here, it's grabbing, it's slowing it down. This is how you make vintage paper cardstock. It's not quite as simple. Yes, the basic technique is you glue it down, but you can see that it's a little bit more involved if you want to do it well, where it's literally going to be smooth and sturdy like cardstock when it's done. So there's that sheet. Let's go ahead and do another couple quick ones. We want lots of bases to play with. So this one still has signature strings in it, and I don't really want to glue the signature strings, so we're going to take those out. Now this one is slightly larger than my cardstock, but it's going to be okay. On this one, because the cardstock is smaller than the book page, we're going to glue the cardstock. Gluing brand new cardstock is much easier than gluing on rag paper. Rag paper has a tooth and a texture to it, right? So gluing this nice new smooth cardstock is easier. So if you would prefer to glue your cardstock, you can. It's just sometimes you want to glue the smaller sheet, right? So the last project, our old paper was smaller than our cardstock, and that's why we glued the paper instead. So there's that. Make sure we have plenty of it on. If you get any big chunks of glue, just make sure you pick them back up or smooth them out. And then since we're on parchment paper, we can just turn that right around and continue on this side. And then turn up the glue stick. And I know we like to save and be frugal with our glue. I know we do, but this is a project, many projects, right? If you're using glue, you want your stuff to stay stuck down there. So don't be skimpy with your glue. I know glue is expensive, right? The Uhu, it's not cheap, right? It's not an Elmer's glue stick. It's definitely not that. So you just want to do it smart, I guess is the best way to say that. Okay, so now we've got the smaller piece on the bottom. We're going to lay this piece on the top, and I'm going to end up going with this side right here. And I'm just going to do my best to kind of center that and lay that on. Go from the outside, or in the middle, I'm sorry, go from the inside to the outside. And press with your fingers. You're trying not to get any wrinkles. Once you get a wrinkle, they can be taken out, but it's harder to fight with it. So just try going from the center to the out. You know what I'm trying to say. Try to go center out. Okay, let's pick this guy up before he gets stuck. Let's take the bone folder and just, now this one, you know, we have a crease in the center, so it's going to be a little bit harder, but just go slowly, slowly, slowly. Through there. Now you can make tabs out of the excess of this. This one sheet will make many tucks, at least 4 tucks really. So there's that. Okay, and we're going to set that to dry. And then we've got a couple little ones, and I really like using poetry for this project specifically, for little page text, poetry pages. This is basically poetry here in French, and it's rag paper. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see the texture on it, but it does have an amazing texture. And I like using these pages for tucks because the poetry, it's just cute, right? And we're going to cut this down and have just a little tuck of poetry. So let's glue this one down to some cardstock, and then this last piece of cardstock is for my Florentine paper tabs. So we're going to glue this one. This is the last one we're gluing. And again, this is the smaller sheet, so I'm going to opt to put my glue on the smaller sheet. And then I just use that cardstock back there to catch excess glue, really. No white areas. Making sure we've got it down. And you can see from how dark the blue is that the rag paper really does like to pick up glue. And so if it bothers you that it's picking up a lot, then use the cardstock and glue on the cardstock instead of gluing on the paper. Okay, so there's that. That's pretty good. Now let's flip it around and glue this side. There we go. You can see it's just wanting to catch just a little bit of it there. There we go. All right, so we've got quite a bit of glue on there. This dries just in a few minutes. Now I live in Arizona. It is slightly drier here, but this dries in just a few minutes for most of you. So I'm going to put this right where I have all that glue, right? Why waste the glue? I will try to slide it over to the edge as best as I can on at least one side. Now I do have some wrinkles here. That's all right. We're good. And then I'm going to go straight down, catching some glue right there and pressing. See that glue that just slid out the edge right there? It happens sometimes, right? I'm just going to pick it up with my finger off my mat. All right. And then I'll go this way. out from the center. Okay, now this one, we're going to go out from the center, and I can see that there is some glue under here. So I'm just going to move it slowly. Let's go this way with it. There we go. And then this is the gluey side right here. Slowly. If you get too much tension, you know you're going to rip your paper, so careful. There we go. All right, we got a little bit of a tear right there because I wasn't patient enough, but we're good to go. All right, so we're going to let that dry. We're going to cut out those other two, cut them into tab shape. I'm going to go ahead and hand cut this edge right here just because the paper is either, oftentimes in these 1700, 1600 book pages, it's not quite straight. Rag paper itself usually has some waviness to it just from time and the process that they use to make it. So I'm going to hand cut out the individual paper, and then we're going to use the cutter, the cutting tool, to cut this into the tucks, the shape of a tuck. Super cute project at the end. You're going to love it. It's something that you can make out of anything. Now, if you don't want to make it out of vintage paper, you could use 6x6 cardstock paper pads, any type of scrapbooking paper pads. Any cardstock that's pre-made will work. However, I think, you know, adding the old book page and making it sturdy like this is really a good look in a junk journal. Oftentimes we do this, but we are using these as bases for tags or journal cards. If you ever have a day where you just want to make something, but you don't know what to make, sit down and glue old papers to cardstock. You can use them for tags, journal cards, tucks, pockets, really anything. You can make master boards and then use master boards as tucks too. This is just a simple tuck, but it's a very pretty, effective looking one. So there we have two complete sheets done. Let me cut the edge of this one. This is still pretty wet, but it will dry here in just a few minutes. While we're working with the first two, this one will dry. So there's that. I do try to line it up to where I have to cut the fewest sides. So I've lined up my book page where I don't have to cut down one side. Had I got a better lineup, I wouldn't have had to cut two, but I'll take one. One is good. All right, so there's those. I'll save this as scrap. We'll put some Florentine paper on it here in a second. All right, let's get the cutter and get these cut down into, actually before I do that, let's go ahead and make the Florentine paper cardstock just so it can glue too. And I have a bag of Florentine paper scraps right here. These are all Italian Florentine papers. I think there's some rag paper and some other miscellaneous things in here. But for the most part, we've got Florentine papers in here, all different kinds of patterns. There's different textures and whatever in here. So I'm going to start by using some of this and make some Florentine paper for tabs. So these tucks will have a tab on the side of it. And I just want to go ahead and make some tabs. So I see lots of pretty examples right here. Let's make some with these. Ooh, this is a good one too. All right, so let's do these. And we're just going to glue whatever scraps I have to cardstock. I'm like, well, I know I had a piece of cardstock. I was looking for it. Okay, so whatever scraps I have of Florentine, just going to glue it down and we're going to punch tabs out of this. So same process. We're just gluing paper to paper at this point. Honestly, I'm probably just going to glue the cardstock on this one. And this is new paper to new paper, so you don't need to use as much glue. You can see very, very big difference from rag paper. Make sure we get that all the way glued down. I'm trying to guesstimate about how big this scrap is. I guess we can just go with it. We know it's not all the way to the edge, so I'm not worrying about that far edge. Okay, so this is going to make me a lot of tabs. You can see that my scrap is not exactly square, so let me get it lined up better. There we go. And so there's a nice piece of Florentine paper glued to some brand new cardstock. On the smaller pieces, it's not as crucial that you spread it out, but you know, it's a good idea, but not as crucial. So there's that. We'll let that dry. There is a little extra piece right here that I can probably use for something else here in a moment. But for now, let's move on and make some more. And I don't need to worry about the glue on my mat. That's totally fine. And now we're just going to glue the actual paper. And then we're going to punch these out in tabs, as tabs, and put them on the side of our tucks. So this is Wednesday's video, I believe. So happy Wednesday. By now I will have talked to you yesterday. But this is Wednesday's video. And I'm hoping to do Thursday and Friday still. It's 7 o'clock on Sunday. I film all of mine on Sundays for the most part. So let's get this on. Let's do it here. So I'm not making a masterboard. It won't stay all together like this, but I'm just making some tabs. And because we need to punch them out with a tab punch, we need to have them very sturdy and on cardstock. You can see that I overglued right there. It doesn't matter. It dries clear. It was more about making sure that I made good contact all the way around. There we go. That's fine. Now let's get this last little bit here. And so I'm going to want to cut off some of this paper. This is the Italian Florentine paper that I sell at my live sales. You guys know that. I do have an order on its way. And the next order that I have for you guys is the Christmas Florentine paper. And I love the Christmas Florentine paper. It is fabulous. It's all fabulous, right? But the Christmas Florentine paper, especially if you like making junk journals for Christmas. The Florentine paper, very different textured, very different quality paper. Just lovely. Lovely to work with. Lovely for pages in your junk journal. There's that. And I'm just going to stick whatever sticks to it. And we'll cut off the excess. There's that. Just filling in a piece of cardstock as I go. I'm going to go ahead and cut that excess off now. I'm going to cut all the excess off because I want to be able to see where to punch my tabs. There's that. I'll save the scraps. We can use those for something else. And I have a little section there that doesn't have anything on it. Some fall colored papers would be great. Ooh, this is a pretty one. Let's do this green. So I like to keep a bag of the Florentine paper scraps near my desk at all times because obviously I do a lot of collage work, but if you ever pack a bag to go somewhere, like if you're going on vacation and you want to do a little crafting, if you're going, into the hospital even and you want to bring some crafting supplies with you, you can bring a little bag of Florentine paper and it basically gives you the perfect little bit of collage help. So anytime you're layering things, you can use Florentine paper. It's great for making all kinds of things in a junk journal, but you can see I'm going right over this. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Won't matter to anybody. Nobody will know what's under there other than you. But just pack yourself a little bag of Florentine paper scraps. So there's that. We're going to get a couple tabs out of that one, but these will be great in a lot of different journals, really. I love this green paper. It comes in blue and green and gold. The one with the big flowers like this one. It's so good. All right, so there's that. Moving on from there, let me tuck away my scraps. Let's go ahead and get the paper trimmer. And we're going to let that dry so we can punch out some tabs. We're going to get the paper trimmer and cut these into tabs. Not tabs, into tucks. Tabs, tucks. Yeah, we're going to cut those. Oh my goodness. Sometimes, now I'm still using this trimmer. I have a love-hate relationship with it. I've threatened to throw it in the trash many times. I'm not looking for tips on how to use it at this point. It is not me, it is the trimmer. We're just going to do the best we can today. If it makes me too upset and angry, I will not swear. However, it will end up in the trash. So let's go ahead and do this. This is the last one we did. So we're going to start with the first one because it's probably the most dry. And the way that I'm going to cut these tabs, I used dictionary for several reasons. I like the columns, and that's about the size of my tab. So I'm just going to cut it down to size height-wise. And height-wise, I'm going to do a 6-inch tab. I'm actually going to do 5.5. 5.5, and it is not going to be a wonderful cutter today, but that was acceptable, sort of, kind of. So 5.5 inch. The next thing I want to do is cut off some of this white area right here. I don't want all of that white. I'll take some border, but I don't want all of it. So I'm going to try my hardest to go slow, and hopefully it will be nice to me. And so now I've got just enough white there, and I'll show you the finished size and measurement here. And then I'm going to leave the line. Yeah, see, it's tearing. It's just not wonderful. It's just not wonderful. It's not wonderful with glued things. So this is the size of my tab. And all in all, this specific tab right here is about 2.25 by 5.5, roughly. So you can see this little trimmer and I, we love and hate each other. Eventually it will end up in the trash, but I don't know why I can't get it together to bring my other one in here. And so next we're going to do a tiny little tab. I have been trying to go slower. So here's a tiny little tab. I keep saying tab. It's a tuck, but whatever. You guys get it. It's a tuck. All right. So we're cutting off some of the white on this one too. You all heard it. And then the paper is glued on just slightly crooked. And so I am going to match up the paper and not worry about cutting it straight. I'm just going to try to shave off some of the crookedness just because I do have a line right there. There we go. It's a little bit better. So it's not exactly square as far as the overall shape, but the paper is straighter looking on that. So we ended up with 3 tabs from the top half of this specific paper. Tucks, not tabs. I don't know how many more times I'm going to do that. A million. Anyway, I'm going to make some smaller tabs, tucks from this one. I can't restart this video, so it just says what it is, guys. So there we go. We're making some tucks. Yes, we are. We're attempting to. Okay, so these ones are shorter and fatter a little bit, right? So there's 3 more. So we have 6 so far. Now we're going to cut this paper in half, right? And then I'm going to cut this down to 5.5 inches. I like my tucks to be about 5.5 when they're skinny tucks, okay? So these are skinny side of the page tucks. These are not like full journal page tucks. I'll show you in a minute where we're putting them. So there's 2 out of that part. This I'm going to save. It can be a tuck. It can be a journal card, but it's there. And we're going to cut off this next. So there's that one. I'm going to cut just a little off this side. I'm not happy with all that white right there. So I trimmed off some of that. And now we're going to cut it to 5.5. So these are skinny page tucks. There's our little journal card that can be saved for another project. Let's go ahead and cut this one. And I'm just lining it up with the paper, but they are about 2.25, 2.5 by 5.5. Okay. So there's 2 more of those. And lastly, we have this, and this one is a bigger tuck because I just went with whatever paper size there was in this antique paper. So we have a larger tuck here. I am going to take some off. Maybe I'm not. Maybe we'll just have some bigger ones. Obviously, I need to take off this white excess right here, but I was going to take them down in height. And this is rag paper glued to cardstock. It could be made into tabs also. I don't feel like I need that right now, so I'm going to let it go. This guy here, because I'm going to take some of the width off, because of the way that this one is situated. Just going to take a little bit, just a sliver, to slim it down. I don't want anything too wide, okay? So I made all of my tucks. I'm saying the right word now, tucks. These are my tucks, okay? So this one is about 3 inches by 7 or 6.5 inches, okay? And they're just French antique rag paper poetry. Those are my tucks. Then I have 4 that look like this. There's 4 that look like that. Then I have 3 that look like this. This was the top of that one sheet of paper. I have 3 that are squattier and shorter. Now, I might not be happy. I might want to trim this down, whatever. But for now, I left it. And I have 2 that honestly, they could be tucks or journal cards. They will probably end up being journal cards. I find I need journal cards more than I need tucks because tucks are simple for me to make. But anyway, there's those. That's the bases. Now we need to do our tabs. Our tabs are going to be punched out of our Florentine paper cardstock. We are going to use... There is a tab punch that makes a whale tail tab punch as well as a file folder tab punch. I'm going to link those in the description box below the video as well as anything else I used in today's video. The tab punch and the whale tail punch, it's not this Stampin' Up! One because this one they don't make anymore and it's like $200 now. So I'm not going to link this exact one, but I will link one that makes this exact shape tab for you in case you don't have it. It's on Amazon, and I believe it's like $16 versus $200 or $180 or whatever people are crazy prices they're asking for this on eBay right now. Anyway, I happen to have a few of the older ones. I'm just using them, but you do you. So to make the tabs, I need to trim off this excess little paper down here just so that I can line up the tab punch, right? There we go. So we've made our beautiful cardstock and now we're just going to punch out some random Florentine paper tabs. Now I won't punch this whole sheet, but I'll punch a couple so that you guys can see how they're going to work out. So there's 3 of those. And now we're going to come in from this side on this one. And I'm trying to get as many tabs as I can out of one of these sheets. And so right here, well, I'm very, very close. I don't know if I can get a third one. There's a third one, maybe. There we go. We're going to go over here to this paper now. I've got a little scrap in there. You do want to let it dry, especially if you are using a very apparently expensive punch, but it's dry enough for my purpose today. So I'm just punching 3 of each, and I will come back and punch whatever else I need to punch and throw the rest of the scraps away. I really love this pink paper. Sorry for the loud punching noise. There isn't really a way to punch on camera without it being loud. So this one we have up and down flowers. I'm going to attempt to keep the direction on the tabs, even though the tabs will be sideways. There's that one. And sometimes you get a whole flower and sometimes you just get a random bit. It doesn't really matter. It's about pattern and texture. So there's Florentine paper tabs. We'll save the rest of that and make some more here off camera. But this is what we ended up with. We ended up with lots of beautiful little tabs, all made out of Florentine paper. They're backed with cardstock. They're perfection. So that's those. I would honestly sit and just make a bunch of these if I was bored or had the time. I am neither at the moment. But anyway, we're going to move on to the decorating and, finishing up our project here. So the first thing I want to work with are these super skinny ones, right? And the first thing I want to do is ink it, and then I'm going to put some of these beautiful flowers on them. So we're just going to roll through and ink these. We're at 29 minutes. All my videos this week have been long. It's because I've missed you guys, and I've missed crafting and all of the wonderful things. Hopefully you guys don't mind. You always tell me you don't. So, you know, for those of you that do mind, I will return to shorter format videos soon enough. In fact, I do have a couple to film today if I get time to that are very short. So I'll try. I'm sorry. I'm also very talkative lately, and I know some of you hate it, and you leave me lovely rude comments that say you hate it, but that's just kind of me sometimes. It probably depends on how much coffee I've had, how high my blood pressure is, many factors. But anyway, it is what it is, right? I mean, it's so funny because people will leave a rude comment, but yet they're still there watching every day. And I'm like, okay, you know, that's all right. Sometimes people wake up on the wrong side of the bed. I wake up often on the wrong side of the bed. It's all right. I don't leave people rude comments on their videos or thumbs down them, but you know, that's just me. You do you. I'll do me. Apparently I'm getting a little spicy too. I don't know. All right. Before we go down that road, let's just make our beautiful tabs. Let's just do that. Oh my goodness. I love crafting and I love making junk journals. I really do. The social media aspect of it is a little like not my favorite part. Like I love all of you, don't take me wrong, but it's really different. Like, you know, using social media and like putting your art and your craft out there and stuff. It's really different. You know, it's not really what you expect it to be. I can just say like, you know, I was very naive going into this. And I'm like, oh, you know, our crafting community is just all full of lovely, nice people. And it is for the most part on most days. But some days it's like there's a full moon or I do something really bad to piss you all off or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's just so funny. It's really funny to me how people are sometimes. It's just like I cannot imagine there ever being a scenario where I would say something like that. But you know, it's okay. It's all right. It's all good. Now, if you ever feel like you have a little bit too much white space, you can bring your inking ever so slightly in. Dark overtakes so the dark will fill in that too much space on that side. So if you ever feel like specifically on this one, see how there's so much white space? Watch, I'll ink around the whole thing and then I'll bring the ink in on that side and show you how it changes the look. So this is just inked around the whole thing, right? It's just inked around the whole thing. Now, if you feel like there's too much space here, bring that ink ever so slightly in, right? Ever so slightly in, and it kind of helps fill in the eye space, right? It just kind of balances it a little bit better. So for now, I'm leaving it there, and I'll show you before and after, because here's one that has the same thing, and I won't bring it in, and I'll hold them up together and show you before and after, so you guys can decide if this is a technique that helps you. Here's just inked around, right? Just inked around. And here's inked around, but brought in just slightly. See how it's just a little easier on the eye? This one is the one where I brought the ink in just a little bit. And this is the one where I didn't. And it's just a little easier on the eye, I think. So just a little trick. Sometimes you cut something and it's just a little crooked or whatever. You can also blend that in with the same technique. So there's those two. I have one left to ink and then we're good. I didn't really plan on getting into all that and inking every little thing with you, but I did. And I talked the whole time. I'm teasing. Forgive me. Okay, here we go. Let's decorate these. Easiest thing in the whole world. These are very, very simple. So we're going to start with, let's start with these four. Start with these four. Okay. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going to take 4 flowers. These are my digitals in Etsy. I printed them on rice paper. You can print them on vellum. You can print them on rice paper. You can print them on whatever you want to print them on. All I'm going to do it's on rice paper. So I'm just kind of like pulling my scissors. I don't want to fussy cut every single little thing. I want this to be quick. So I'm just going to cut around them as best I can. Pull my scissors just through that rice paper or vellum or whatever you printed it out on. Even if you print them on regular white printer paper, these have a vintage background. It is so light and slight that you're never going to be unhappy with it, but it is there to make these flowers, the background of them, blend in. So I had to cut this one out of the middle, and I'm just going to round it off so I don't have square edges. But you can get this Digila if you don't have it in your collection. It's listed in my Etsy store. My Etsy is linked in the description box. And so you just go over there, grab it, print it out. And I'm just going to layer one of these very simply on each one of these guys. Let's use a purple one. Do we have any? We don't have any purple tabs, but let's use a purple one anyway. And on each sheet, there is a short flower and a long flower, or many long and many short. But they're super cute little botanical flowers, and we're always looking for this kind of thing in book pages. And if you get the digital, you know, you can print it out again and again and again. So there's that one. Let's use this yellow one. And so because there's botanical flowers on here, it can go in any kind of journal. It can go in a Victorian lady journal. Obviously, the ladies in Victorian times very into their flowers, very into gardening in general. So there's that. And also they embroidered flowers all over everything. So flowers really can go in anything. These are also botanical enough in nature. They could go in more of a botanical journal where you've got mushrooms and that kind of thing. There's 4. That's where we're going to start. You can use glue stick for this. It's quite simple. We're going to take our little it's not wax paper, it's parchment paper. Take our parchment paper. We're going to just add glue stick to the back of this. Now it's rice paper. It's going to pick up some of this blue glue stick. It's going to look a little blue in color when I stick it down, but it's going to dry clear. Now you can center these or you can slide them left or right. I'm going to center these ones. So there's that one. And again, it will dry clearer. More clear. I don't know how to say that, but it will dry more clear. We're just going to keep going. And so for me, these tabs, they can go in my French country journals. They could go in my botanical journals. They can go in the next journal series that I'm making, which I haven't released yet, but it's coming. I will talk to you guys about that on Tuesday as well. But there's a new kit coming out that's a physical junk journal kit. And this is the September junk journal kit. It's coming. Okay, there's that. And I'm going right down the center on these ones. The next ones I might move slightly off center. We'll see. But look at how lovely and simple these are. And they're not even done yet, but they're lovely and simple. And you could make, I don't know, a dozen or so in half an hour, probably. And if you weren't making your own cardstock, you could probably make several dozen in half an hour, honestly. They're very easy. And when these are all the way dry, you're going to see that the background from these botanicals is just going to blend into this vintage paper. So I'm going to set those up to dry, and we're going to add tabs to those in a minute. But now we're going to work with these ones. These are the other page. So this is a lighter book page, more white, and this is more creamy color. And we're going to keep doing the same thing. Now you could obviously add other things, and I do have some other things that we're going to stick on some, but for these ones right here, let's just keep going with it. Let's use the rest of this one. I love printing things out on rice paper. If you guys have a printer that will print on the super thin papers like the vellums and vellum honestly can be pretty thick or thin, but if you have a printer that will work on, printing on a super thin rice paper like this, I really think you guys should give it a try. I will link the rice paper if I can find it. I have some that I did get from Amazon, and I have some that I bought at a specialty paper mill. I will link what I did get from Amazon, and you guys can give that one a try. A lot of times if your printer has a rear feed tray, it will print on some thin items. Other times, like if you have a laser printer, sometimes those will print on thin papers. So this one, it's kind of off to the side. So we could run it up that side and kind of fill in that white space over there. So I think that's good. This one does need to go in the center. It's just more of a center shape. And then we have this one. And so this will be the last of these botanical flowers I use. And we'll put other focal points on the next ones. So there's that. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that you guys are having a great Wednesday. I think I said it was today. For me, it's Sunday, but I think it's Wednesday for you guys. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. And let's see. Maybe perhaps we'll see you guys again. I mean, you'll see a video maybe tomorrow, and I hope we're having a live tomorrow. You'll have to pay attention to the channel. I think we are, but so we could run this one up this side. You might need to bring it down just a little. Okay, so those look good. Let's get those glued on. I don't want to be too fussy. Now, other things that you could stick on here, I have some other focal points, but you could also add a label. If you like to add a label with everything that you make, you could add a label. You could add a postage stamp to finish decorate these. But there is going to be a tab. So before you do any more decorating after your focal point, I would suggest that you add the tabs. That way you are looking, you know, at a fully decorated piece and you can decide what's missing. Am I covering up a page number? Okay. As long as I'm not covering up a page number, you can go up there. I don't like to cover up the old rag paper page numbers. They're just, I don't know, they're special and I don't want to cover them up. So anyway, you could think about adding those other elements after you add your tabs, like the postage stamps, the labels, any other little decorative items. And you don't have to cover the rice paper completely with glue. I was going to try to slide it over, but in all reality, this one's just going to go in the center and I'm going to bring it down. There we go. There's that one. Rice paper has actual little fibers in it. And so you'll see that when I printed the papers, there are some little cracks, and that's the rice paper fibers. It's not actual cracks in the printing or misses. It's more of the little rice paper fibers. Okay, so there's those three. Now, if you don't want to be as simple as me, you could layer up some other elements back here behind these. You could layer up maybe some paper doily or something to that effect. You could layer up other like music paper. You could make these out of music paper if you wanted to. Let's see, you could use cardstock like scrapbooking cardstock. So there's those. Let's add something else to the rest of these. So I've got three little short guys here. Let's choose a different focal point for these. I found a piece of file folder. That was interesting. Let's add a different focal point on these ones. Let's add some of the Florentine, not Florentine, let's add some of the German scrap. So I've been using the German scrap. We can pull out lots of focal points. Like, you know, if I had a tall one like this guy here, you could even put a big character like this on it. You could even make these into tags or whatever. But I think I just want some simple little roses. So let's add a lovely little rose spray right here. So these are focal points. They're already fussy cut for you. You just trim off the connector bits. So there's these little connector bits like right here on the edge of these little leaves. You just trim them off, follow around. It shows you exactly where to cut, and you're just snipping off tiny, tiny little pieces. It's not fussy cutting. It's nothing like fussy cutting, but you get a fully fussy cut image when you're done. And so we can just stick these on here. Now you do get lots of little pieces. That's the only downside, but you know, You would have them if you fussy cut anyway. So we could add this one right there, or possibly up the center over here. We might try it on there, but there's one of those. Now let's see what else we have here. I know that we need some other longer. Here's a lovely red rose. Here's a lovely fairy. Let's see what we can do with this red rose. Hold on. Hold on. We have this lovely spray, and I have journals right now that need this color palette. So let's see about using these. I'm still working on French country journals. This will be lovely right here. So this is a little basket of flowers, and I'm still working on French country journals. I mean, they're mostly done, but as you guys know, I like to make them over embellished, over decorated, whatever you want to call it. So I'm still working on them. And so let's put that guy on that. This is another one that really would look lovely there. I'm going to do it. Am I? Or am I going to stick this fairy on there? Let's use a rose. Let's back off all of that and use a rose. Let's use a rose. There's this lovely red rose right here, and I want that one. So let's get it. Okay, so we used some German scrap. We worked that into today's project as well. So we're going to have German scrap and Italian Florentine paper on these, and they're going to be lovely. I do apologize for a longer video. I know. I'm promising. We're getting it done. We're nearing the finish line. But you know, you've stayed this long, you want to see what it looks like, right? Okay, so here we go. We're going to glue these on. I'm going to clean up my mess right there so I have some space to glue. I've got some excess flour. Okay. Now these are embossed. They will take a little bit of your glue stick. So they're embossed. They'll take a little extra glue. Don't worry about that. You could use art glitter glue, but honestly, the glue stick is what's going to make these completely flat. And since it's a tuck, we want them to be flat. So I'm going to stick on the first half, and then I'm going to stick on the bottom half because I tore it. No big deal. It all goes back together. You can line it up just like a puzzle piece. Got a little chunk of glue there, but it's all good. There's that one. Here's my basket of flowers. So if you use art glitter glue, it just doesn't get these as flat as I would like as a tuck. Art glitter glue is faster, but it's not always what I'm looking for. Sometimes I really need things to be very, very flush. So I'm going to slide that one more in that area, and then we'll probably put a label at the bottom. I'm not sure yet. I didn't really leave room for, need to leave room for the tab. So pardon me while I slide that one all over the place, but I need to leave space for the tab. Now I didn't ink anything. I didn't feel like I needed to ink my little focal points. Again, this video showed you multiple things, so it's a longer one, but it showed you multiple things, and we have a pile of decorated finished ephemera. This is the bottom of the page. We have room for our tab, so we're good, hopefully. Trying to leave lots of room for that tab. There we go. All right, now let's put our tabs on and call these guys good. I didn't do the big ones over there. You guys will. I didn't do these, and I want to do them. Let's finish these little guys first, and then I'll do those ones. So we're going to start with the ones that we finished first because they are the most dry. Notice how that the background now has really fully blended in, and you're just going to grab whatever tab that you want. This particular punch, you need to fold them in half. For the other punch that I'll link, you don't really have to fold them. If you want to ink it, ink it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't feel like they have to be inked, so it's up to you. These I do like to put on with art glitter glue. This is art glitter, and you just add it to the inside I just filled this and it's been super misbehaving since doing so. It is what it is. We're going to let that one sit for just a moment because there is quite a bit of glue. I'll probably go right back in and use the same. Let's use blue. Why not? It doesn't really matter. The Florentine paper, it just matches everything. It's like a patterned neutral. You can use whatever pattern and color combination that makes you happy. There's no right or wrong. There's no rules to it. And so while this is a tuck and you are not necessarily going to see the other side of this, depending on how far out you stick this coming out from the page, you could see this in your journal. So if you were going to glue it where you were not going to see this the back side of this tab, if you were going to glue it all the way over on your page, you could cut your tab in half even. But I'm going to see the tab sticking out of my journal. So there's that one. Now we're going to stick this one on. You can move the tabs. They don't all have to be in the same location on your little tucks. You can also hole punch your tabs and put a dangle or a bulb pin with some beads or buttons or something in the bulb pin. So there's that one. Let's do this guy here. Honestly, I just like this one a lot. I'm going to do that one. I need to use some red ones, but I'm going to do this one. Let's see. I want this on my front. Okay. So from here, I might add a label to the bottom. I probably would not, but you could. On these, I don't think I will, but on some of the ones with the German scrap, I would add a label. So there's that. Okay, so we have 3 of those. Now we're going to do the next 3. Let's do this bold green one right here. Super cute little mask make though. I'll show you how many we made, and we made them in an hour, but I was talking the whole time. If you're not talking, you can craft a lot faster. Ask me how I know. Because I am always amazed at how little I get done when I have to be super chatty, right? And I don't have to be, but you know what I mean. When I am super chatty, I'm going to put this one in the front. So there's that. And if you have the little file folder tabs, I do normally like to, make some with this whale tail tab and some with the file folder tab. The file folder tab, it's just the longer, file folder top. That's what that looks like. I think we do want that one there. Or we haven't used one of these. Let's use one of these. Let's do it. Yes. Okay. So, guys, my new grandson is, by the time you see this video, about 10 days old. He is so crazily cute. He has huge dimples like my daughter. So crazy cute. Love him so much, obviously, but he's so darling. And all I want to do is play with him, hold him, hug him, love him, whatever. Okay, this guy here. Let's use blue. Yep. Let's use blue. Blue and yellow is always a nice combination. He has a doctor's appointment this week, a not fun one, but he's a boy, so something's happening at the doctor's office, which I shall not mention on camera other than that, but he will not remember it. He will all be good. They couldn't get it done at the hospital. Apparently there was not a person there to do it at the hospital, so they had to have it done out at the pediatrician's office. Okay, so these 3 are next. Right off the bat, we have this red one. It looks lovely there, but I think I want one of the green ones with this red rose. So let's do that. I think we should have a challenge, a 30-minute challenge, and I should do videos where we are making ephemera, and it's a 30-minute video, 30-minute make, right? And you have to see how many you can make in 30 minutes. And you have to post that you made them in 30 minutes, and we'll just have to take, like, you know, like, it does need a label, but we'll just take your word for it that you really made them in 30 minutes. But it will be a challenge, I think. Okay, so we could do the blue one right here. That will work. Let's see. Let's go this way. Don't you guys think it would be fun where we do, like, I'll do a video giving you the idea, and you guys see how many you can make in 30 minutes, and I'll make as many as I can in 30 minutes. And we'll just go from there, and it'll be fun. And we'll post it in the Facebook group for the challenge. I think that will be fun. There's always lots of things we can do. A postage stamp up in this area would be good. Even one up here would be good. Okay, for this one, let's just do the pink. So see how we can mix German scrap and Italian Florentine paper. We can mix all the good things, French rag paper, all the lovely things. Now, I will make some of these with handwritten French documents. I love to use the handwritten French documents to make simple little tucks like this, because when you have antique French documents that are hundreds of years old and the handwriting is so amazing and beautiful and whatever, the last thing you want to do is cover it all up with collaging a bunch of stuff on it. So simple little tucks like these that go on the edge of a page with documents behind, and you can still decorate the same, but with the document handwriting behind, are so gorgeous. So let me grab a mock journal page and let me show you how these go on a page and how they will look. We have lots of tabs left over. We have a journal page right here. My journal page has a piece of ephemera paper clipped to it. I don't know why, but it does. Okay, here's a journal page. So on the journal page, this is a perfect one because you have a nice open space right there. Your little tucks are just going to get glued down. Now they can go in the center of a page. They could go up here, and you're just going to tuck something back there behind it. Like I do have this tag right here. You're going to tuck a tag back there, right? It's just a tuck. It can go right here in the middle of the page. And on this instance, you would literally just glue down the side. Now you could also put it down here at the bottom of the page, and then it would be a tuck where you glue it on this side and the bottom, and it's just a little tuck this way. Okay, so there's two ways there. Again, you know, it could be here down at the bottom. It could be here in the center, right? And then here's these ones. And you can see why I kept them skinny, right? You just tuck a little something back there, and you still see your whole journal page. You're not covering up your whole page, right? It's just super cute. And of course, you'll have a decorated tag or journal card or whatever. You've got those Florentine paper tabs, and they will stick out throughout the journal. So you'll be able to see the Florentine paper on the back of the tab. Now, if you wanted to glue yours down to where the tab is there, but you're gluing it over here so that nothing sticks out. Some people don't want anything sticking out. And I get that. You can still use tabs for decoration, but not have it be where, you know, it's sticking out. You can't pick it up, whatever. Some people glue them down flat. I've seen really popular journal makers, and they will glue a tab flat. And that was where I got the idea. I was like, oh, that's crazy. I never really thought about that. But some people don't want it sticking out, right? For one reason or another. Maybe your closure for your type of journal, you just can't have anything sticking out. I like it in the middle a lot. I really do. I just think it kind of looks better. It's just a little tuck. I keep calling it the wrong thing. You guys know it's a tuck, right? Okay. So anyway, in this video that took me an hour of chatting and chatting and chatting and chatting, this is how many we made. We made 1, we made 2, we made 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We made 10, and we did it from scratch, all in one go. We didn't pause. We're all good. Now, if I wasn't filming and I wasn't so chatty, I probably could have made at least 15, going up to 16, 20, but you know, it's okay. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the Tucks with Tabs video, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Bye, guys.